Introduction. The world rewards the calm, not the emotional. The world doesn't reward those who feel the most. The world rewards those who can keep a cool head in the storm. When emotions are no longer your compass, have you ever wondered, why do some people, who aren't necessarily smarter or luckier than you, always make the right decisions at the most critical moments? Why, in the midst of panic, are there people who simply pause, observe, think, and act as if they knew the chaos was coming? Why do some crumble under pressure, while others use their clarity to turn crisis into opportunity? The answer isn't talent. It's not about money. It's about the mindset they choose to live by and how they choose to respond to the world. And one of the most powerful, ancient, yet modern mindsets I've ever encountered is Stoicism, a modern world that worships emotion. We live in a time where society encourages us to be true to your feelings. Say whatever's on your mind. Follow your heart. Sometimes that's necessary. But the danger is this. When you let emotions drive every decision, you lose control of your life. You become quick to anger over a single comment, quick to give up after one failure, quick to quit just because today feels harder than usual. Emotions, though natural and essential, can become tyrants if left unchecked. And when they rule us, we fall. Stoicism, not about suppressing emotions, but mastering them. Stoicism doesn't ask you to become emotionless. It teaches you to recognize emotions, understand them, but not let them rule your actions. It teaches you to stand in the middle of the storm, calm, clear-headed. It teaches you to stop trying to control others or circumstances, and instead to control yourself. And when you control yourself, that's the ultimate form of freedom and success. What you'll find in this video. This isn't a video filled with vague motivational quotes like, just follow your passion, trust the universe, or everything will be okay. Instead, you'll get a perspective that's more grounded, more rational, but also more profound. You'll learn why feeling less doesn't make you weak. It makes you unshakable. You'll learn why strategy, discipline, and mental clarity are the ultimate weapons of success in a chaotic world. So, if you're tired of being dragged around by your emotions, if you want to become the calmer, stronger, more calculated version of yourself, then stay until the end of this video. Because you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You don't need to be the most emotional. You just need to be the calmest and the most strategic. Let's begin the journey. Stoicism and the mindset for success. Less emotion, more strategy. Part 1. What is Stoicism and why it's never outdated? Over 2,000 years ago, in the dusty squares of Rome and Athens, when people rode chariots, not cars, and the only light came from torches, candles, or the sun, a group of wise thinkers developed a philosophy that could transform a person's entire life. That philosophy was Stoicism. And even though the world has changed at lightning speed since then, the core of Stoicism still holds true. In fact, it's more relevant than ever in today's emotional, overstimulated, information-overloaded age. What is Stoicism? Stoicism is not about forcing yourself to feel nothing. It's not about denying your emotions or ignoring your humanity. It's an art of living that teaches you to distinguish what's within your control and what isn't. Stay calm, rational, and grounded, even in pain, loss, or triumph. Act based on inner values and integrity, not external validation. Accept reality as it is, but respond with intelligence and intention. The first Stoics, and why they still inspire today. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, who lost everything in shipwreck, yet rebuilt his life on wisdom, not wealth. Epictetus, a former slave, poor and disabled, but a master of inner freedom. Seneca, a wealthy Roman statesman surrounded by political danger, yet remained composed and reflective. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, who ruled an empire while writing Meditations, a journal of deep, humble, and clear thinking. Despite their different statuses, slave or emperor, rich or poor, they all found freedom not through controlling the world, but by mastering themselves. Why Stoicism is more relevant than ever. Today, we're not fighting with swords on battlefields like Marcus Aurelius, but we're fighting on another battlefield, the battlefield of the mind. We face pressure to succeed on social media, constant comparison with others, Negative news, fake information, emotional overload. FOMO, overthinking, and fear of the future. In this world, those who are ruled by emotion lose. And those who stay calm, focused, and in control win in the long run. That's why Stoicism isn't outdated. It's not just a philosophy for ancient scholars. It's a modern survival skill for anyone who wants to succeed without being swept away by emotion. A quick example. Who would you trust? In a high-stakes meeting, one person explodes with emotion after criticism. The other stays silent, observes, responds with clarity and logic. Who earns long-term trust? Not the loudest, but the most composed. That's the spirit of a Stoic. Stoicism doesn't make you cold. It makes you resilient at the right time. It doesn't make you emotionless. It gives you the clarity to act with strategy, not impulse. And on the path to success, that's more valuable than any short-term feeling. Ready to think like an emotional strategist? Up next, the truth about emotions on the road to success and why less emotion is the smarter path. Part 2, the truth about emotions on the road to success. Most of us grow up hearing, follow your heart. Emotions are the compass to your life. It sounds poetic, maybe even inspiring. And sometimes it's true. But in the real world, where success demands consistency, strategy, and long-term thinking, emotions are no longer a reliable compass. In fact, they can become the very thing that sabotages all your hard work. Are emotions fuel or saboteur? Emotions are like fire. If you control it, it warms, lights, and motivates you. If you lose control, it burns everything. Your career, your relationships, your reputation. One outburst of anger, and you lose a business partner. One moment of jealousy, and you choose the wrong path. One bad day, and you quit a journey you've worked years for. And then we blame circumstances, bad luck, or other people, when in fact, the real culprit was our own untrained emotions. Why emotions are dangerous for long-term success? Because emotions always react in the now. But success requires thinking long-term. When you feel discouraged, you want to quit. But success might be just beyond that breaking point. When you feel overly excited, you make risky moves. But life and markets don't reward impulsiveness. When someone hurts you, you want to lash out. But often, silence and strategy win more than words. Emotion is reflex. Success is strategic response. They're two very different paths. What Stoicism teaches about emotion. Stoics don't suppress emotion. They simply don't obey it. They still feel sadness, fear, anger, but they don't act impulsively. They pause. They observe the emotion, ask, is this useful? Then choose how to respond. They aren't emotion slaves. They're its master. Emotion becomes information, not a command. A real-world example. Elon Musk and emotional discipline. Imagine being Elon Musk when Tesla was on the brink of collapse. Critics everywhere. Negative press. Stock plummeting. Engineers quitting. Sleepless nights. Exhaustion. A person driven by emotion would have panicked or given up. But what did Musk do? He didn't let emotion dictate decisions. He focused on strategic action, slept on the factory floor, improved production processes, raised funds through bold but calculated moves, not because he felt no fear, but because he didn't act from fear. He acted from clarity. What about you? How often do you let emotions dictate major decisions? How many times have you said, I wish I had stayed calm back then? The question isn't, how do I eliminate emotion? It's, how do I master it before it masters me? Because in the game of success, the winner is not the most emotional, but the most calm, strategic thinker. Emotions spread faster than reason. Humans are emotional beings. We don't live in a vacuum. We react to our environment, to the energy of the person in front of us, and to the attitude of the crowd. And emotions, especially negative ones like anger, anxiety, or panic, have an incredibly powerful contagion. One employee loses their temper in a meeting, the whole team feels the tension. A leader complains about business results, the team loses morale. One person spreads fear during market turbulence, the entire investment group makes poor decisions. In such situations, if the leader also gets swept up in emotion, the entire organization can descend into chaos. That's why a leader must be the emotional anchor for the whole group. Stoicism, the emotional shield of a leader. Stoicism doesn't teach people to deny emotions, but to not be enslaved by them. A Stoic leader is someone who does not react impulsively, does not act out of pride, and does not make decisions in anger. Instead, they pause to observe, analyze the situation without emotional distortion, choose a response that restores order rather than worsening the chaos. Stoicism gives leaders a cool head when everyone else is losing theirs. And sometimes all it takes is one calm person to save the entire team. Barack Obama, a Stoic icon of leadership. The 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama, was famously dubbed No Drama Obama because of his remarkable composure, even in the most serious crises. Whether facing terrorist threats, political backlash, or financial collapse, he did not blame others, lash out, or incite panic. He responded with strategy, logic, and almost unbelievable calm. The media at times criticized him for being cold or emotionless. But after each crisis, people began to realize it was precisely because he didn't let emotions control him that he was the right person to lead. Emotions may inspire people for a moment, but calmness and strategic thinking are what help an organization survive the storm. On the other hand, impulsive emotions can destroy an entire team. History and real-world experience both show many leaders fail not because they lack talent, but because they let emotions drive their decisions. Losing their temper and lashing out at employees breaks trust and damages morale. Envying competitors leads to petty, ineffective strategies. Panicking during uncertainty results in rushed and poorly thought-out decisions. Failing to manage their ego sparks unnecessary power struggles. In business, politics, or any organization, a leader's ability to manage their emotions is one of the most reliable predictors of the system's long-term sustainability. You don't need to be a CEO to lead like a Stoic. Leadership is not just a title. Leadership is a mindset. You can be a student, an employee, or a startup founder, and still be a leader if you control your emotions, maintain your rationality, and radiate calmness to those around you. A Stoic doesn't have to wield power to lead. They influence others because they represent stability in a world full of uncertainty. And sometimes, simply staying calm during a heated debate puts you ahead of 90% of the crowd. Practice suggestion, the 3-second pause exercise. Next time you feel yourself being swept away by emotion, try this. 1. Pause for 3 seconds. Say nothing. Do nothing. 2. Take a deep breath, exhale, and ask yourself, will this reaction help the outcome? 3. Choose an action based on your long-term goal, not your short-term emotion. Repeat this enough times, and you'll begin to build a Stoic reflex. Calmness becomes natural. Thinking becomes natural. Strategy becomes natural. Conclusion: a leader is someone who can control themselves. In any organization, the first thing a leader must control is not the budget nor the staff. It's their own emotions. A leader who loses emotional control is like a captain who lets go of the wheel in a storm. On the other hand, a leader who remains calm can steer the entire ship through rough waters. And that's what Stoicism teaches us. You don't need to shout. You don't need to assert dominance. Just hold on to your reason in an emotional world, and you are already the strongest person in the room. Part 4. I can't control that. Stoic thinking and inner freedom. If there's one core principle that sums up the entire philosophy of Stoicism, it's this: there are things we can control, and there are things we cannot. It sounds so simple that everyone thinks they understand it, but this very simplicity is where millions of people get it wrong, right from the start. Because we don't clearly understand this boundary, we become trapped in negative emotions: anger, anxiety, insecurity, disappointment, resentment. We want to change others. We want to control circumstances. We want life to go exactly as we planned. But life doesn't work that way. And our suffering often comes from demanding control over the uncontrollable. Stoicism, not giving up, but letting go of the right things. One of the biggest misunderstandings about Stoicism is, if I can't control it, then forget it, just stop caring. No, Stoicism does not teach us to give up. It teaches us to let go of what's beyond our control, so we can focus all our energy on what truly matters. Our thoughts, our actions, our character, and our reactions. When you focus on what you can control, you gain strength. When you cling to what you cannot, you lose yourself. A simple illustration: the circle of control. Imagine a blank sheet of paper. Draw a small circle in the center. This represents what you can control: your attitude, your habits, your effort, how you respond to situations, your mindset. Everything outside that circle represents what you cannot control: the weather, what others think of you, market changes, rumors, the past. Most of our pain, stress, and failure come from this. Right, Taro, you spend too much time outside the circle. You get frustrated when others don't understand you. You suffer because no one recognizes your efforts. You panic because the market crashes. You complain because the world is unfair. The problem isn't the situation. The problem is you're focused on things you can't change. Lesson from Epictetus, a slave, but the freest man alive. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, was once a slave. He couldn't control where he was born. He couldn't control his master. He couldn't control being beaten or imprisoned. But he realized, they can chain my body, but not my mind. He chose to control the only thing he could: his reactions and his character. And from a slave's position, he rose to become a teacher of some of the most powerful people in the Roman Empire. That's the power of knowing your limits and choosing to fight within them. Epictetus, a slave, yet one of the freest men in history. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, was once a slave. He couldn't control where he was born. He couldn't control his master. He couldn't control being beaten or imprisoned. But he realized, even if they shackle my hands and feet, they cannot shackle my mind. He chose to control the only thing he truly owned: his responses and his character. And from the status of slave, he rose to become a teacher to some of the most powerful figures in the Roman Empire. That is the power of recognizing your limits and choosing to fight within them. Practical exercise, the within beyond columns. This is a simple but powerful exercise, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed. Step 1. Take a blank sheet of paper and draw 2 columns. Left column, write down everything you're worried, angry, or hurt about. Right column, for each item, ask yourself, can I control this? If yes, create an action plan. If no, cross it out and allow yourself to let go. This doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise and strong where it matters. Real life example: leadership and the lessons of COVID-19. When the COVID-19 pandemic broke out, millions of people were thrown off course. Plans collapsed. Revenue dropped. Teams were confused and anxious. Weak leaders complained, blamed others, sat back, and waited. Stoic-minded leaders immediately began to separate. Uncontrollable: the virus itself, lockdown policies, market psychology. Controllable: communication with employees, product restructuring, digital transformation, team morale. They focused all their energy on what they could control. And the result? Many companies didn't just survive. They emerged stronger after crisis. The mindset of, I can't control that, the beginning of inner freedom. The phrase, I can't control that, might sound like defeat at first. But in truth, it's a declaration of inner freedom. Because once you stop wrestling with the impossible, you'll feel lighter. When you no longer force others to understand you, you'll feel more at peace. When you stop demanding life to follow your script, you'll become more adaptable. This is not surrender. It's letting go of the right things so you can hold tighter to what's worth keeping. Summary: you can't control everything, but you can always control yourself. In this life, you'll face countless unpleasant surprises, mistakes, rejections, judgments, loss, breakdowns, system errors, injustice. But through it all, you always have a private space no one can invade. Your mind, your thinking, and your chosen reactions. And when you master that inner space, even if the world falls into chaos, you'll stand firm like a mountain. Part 5. Success doesn't come from impulsive emotion, but from long-term planning. If there's one reason why most people fail in their journey, it's not because they lack talent. It's not because they weren't lucky enough. It's because they act on impulsive emotions, not long-term strategy. They want quick results. They want instant success. They can't stand waiting, slowing down, or starting over. And then they give up, all because of a temporary emotion, when in truth, if they had just pushed through one more moment, thought one more day, waited one more step, success might have been just ahead. Impulsive emotion, the number one enemy of strategic thinking. Stoics understand deeply. Emotion is temporary. Strategy is permanent. A decision made on impulse might bring you short-term satisfaction, but often leads to long-term regret. On the other hand, a decision made with reason may feel uncomfortable at first, but it brings lasting outcomes. One examples: eating a sugary snack when you're stressed feels comforting, but if you do it every time you're sad, 6 months later, your health and physique will reflect the cost. Arguing with a colleague and sending a harsh email feels satisfying in the moment, but the relationship may suffer for years. Quitting a project out of boredom or frustration may bring relief, but you just cut off your own path to success. Emotion screams now. Success whispers next year or 5 years from now. Stoicism teaches you to delay emotion to protect your future. One of the greatest superpowers Stoicism gives you is the ability to delay your reactions, delay your desires, and delay your impulses. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't let your short-term emotions make you forget who you're trying to become." That quote isn't just a philosophy. It's a psychological break that keeps you from driving off a cliff due to an emotional swerve. A Stoic always asks before reacting, does this serve my long-term goals? Is this action driven by reason or emotion? A year from now, will I be proud of this decision? If you just pause for 10 seconds to ask these questions, you could save yourself from countless mistakes. Real-life example, Warren Buffett and the art of delay. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors in history, once said, "The difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything." Buffett doesn't make money by reacting to the market. He waits, analyzes, observes, sometimes for years before making a move. And that's what made him sustainably wealthy. Not because he could predict other people's emotions, but because he could control his own. In the stock market, emotion makes people buy high and sell low. Stoic calm allows one to buy right, hold firm, and win in the long run. How can you build the mindset of emotional delay? Stoicism is not a natural talent. It's a habit that you train through small daily actions. Here are 3 exercises you can start today. Exercise 1. Delay major decisions. Next time you're about to do something driven by intense emotion, such as sending a confrontational email, quitting a project, or lashing out at someone, force yourself to wait 24 hours. Just one day of delay, and you'll often find the emotion cools down, reason returns, and your decision becomes far more accurate. Exercise 2. Emotional strategy journal. Each night, write down 3 sentences. What situation today did I react emotionally to? What was the consequence? If I could redo it, how would I respond rationally? After just 2 weeks, you'll begin to notice your impulsive emotional patterns. And from there, you'll learn how to break them. Exercise 3. Choose one long-term goal and sacrifice short-term emotions for it. Example, you want to write a book, but every day you feel tired, bored, or uninspired. A Stoic doesn't wait for inspiration. They write even when they don't feel like it. They act even when their emotions don't cooperate, because they understand emotions are short-term, but results lie at the end of the road. Success is a game for those who can wait. If life were a train station, impulsive people would jump on the first train that passes. But successful people wait for the right train. They're willing to sit still, observe, evaluate, prepare, while others rush off in all directions. And then, when the most important train arrives, they step on board with clarity and never look back. Conclusion: don't let emotion decide the course of your life. You may feel discouraged. You may feel like giving up. You may feel angry, disappointed, or lost. But remember, no one becomes successful by acting on emotion. People succeed because they stay committed to the strategy, even when their emotions don't support them. Part 6. Emotional immunity. Keeping inner peace in a chaotic world. Imagine a day like this. You wake up, pick up your phone, and immediately see dozens of messages, emails, notifications. Social media is full of drama. People showing off fancy cars, perfect bodies, mansions. Your news feed blasts negative headlines. Wars, pandemics, scams, economic crises. Before you've even brushed your teeth, your mind is pulled in 3 directions. Envy, insecurity, fear. We live in an era where every day is an emotional storm. And without a strong emotional immune system, you'll be knocked down before you can make a mark in life. Stoicism, a vaccine for the mind. Just as your body needs immunity to fight viruses, your mind needs emotional immunity to stand firm in today's world. Stoicism is how you build that immunity. Learning to take a step back before reacting. Learning to question before believing. Learning to stay calm when the world is crying out. Negative emotions come from thoughts, not events. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not events that disturb people, it's their judgments about them." Bad news doesn't make you anxious, but the thought, "this could ruin me," does. Someone else's success doesn't cause envy, but the thought, "I'm inferior to them," does. Criticism doesn't make you angry, but treating it as a personal attack does. Stoicism teaches you not to react instinctively to the world, but to respond like a strategist. Analyze, distinguish, evaluate, then choose your emotion deliberately. You can't block the news, but you can choose how to take it. You can't control social media, the news, or what others say, but you can control whether you see it, how much you take in, what you believe, how you react to it. Those with strong emotional immunity filter what enters their mind. They guard their inner fortress, only letting in what deserves to be welcomed. Practical exercise. The Stoic filter every morning. Before you touch your phone or open your laptop, ask yourself, 1. Do I really need this information? 2. Will it help me act better or just make me worry? 3. Am I reacting emotionally or strategically? Practice these 3 questions daily, and you'll feel less manipulated and much lighter. Social media, where emotions get hijacked. Social algorithms aren't built for your peace. They're built to keep you hooked. And the easiest way to do that? Trigger extreme emotions. Fear through negative headlines. Envy, other success stories. Anger, arguments, sensationalism, drama. FOMO, fear of missing out. The more you react, the deeper you fall in. Weak emotional immunity means hours wasted fighting battles that aren't yours. Stoic-minded people don't let algorithms control their feelings. They mute notifications. They limit screen time. They choose content that nourishes the mind, not stimulates the reptile brain. They're not emotionless. They just spend wisely. Stoics aren't robots. They feel sadness, anger, envy, hurt. But before they let emotion rule, is this emotion useful? Can it be channeled constructively? Or is it emotional trash that drains energy? If it's the latter, they set it aside. Real example, Keanu Reeves, a modern Stoic. Keanu Reeves has lost loved ones and lived a quiet, humble life despite global fame. In interviews, he's thoughtful and soft-spoken. When insulted, he doesn't lash out. When praised, he doesn't brag. He lives as though his Stoic filter is always on. And that grounded presence has earned him admiration, not just for acting, but for his calm, unwavering character. Summary: the mind is your home. You are the gatekeeper. In a world of daily emotional assaults, you need to defend inside before you fight outside. Don't let others dictate your mood. Don't let social media rewire your outlook. Don't let the news captain your feelings. Learn to choose, reflect, then respond. And that's exactly what Stoicism helps you master day by day. Part 7. When you stop fearing loss, you become truly free. Deep down, most fears don't spring from what happens, but from the thought it could happen. Fear of losing your job, fear of rejection, fear of losing a loved one, fear of judgment, fear of failure, shame, suffering. Because of that fear, we remain defensive, anxious, sleepless, unwilling to risk, afraid to be authentic, and scared to chase what we truly want. Stoicism doesn't tell you to transcend fear by ignoring it. It teaches you to face your greatest fear and accept it, because when you're no longer afraid to lose, you become unstoppable. Premeditatio malorum, visualizing the worst. A core Stoic exercise is premeditatio malorum, deliberately imagining the worst-case scenario, not to be pessimistic, not to cause dread, but to train your mind, to prepare you, so you won't be paralyzed when it happens. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, used to say every morning, "Today I may meet deceitful, selfish, or disloyal people, but that's human nature, and I'm ready so I won't be surprised." Ordinary people hope for smooth days. Stoics prepare for the opposite and live well regardless. Why accepting the worst set you free? Imagine you're climbing a mountain. Behind you is a steep drop. Each step brings fear. What if I slip? Fear makes you tremble. Trembling unbalances you. Imbalance increases the risk. But if your mind thinks, "Worst case, I slip, so what? I'm prepared," then fear vanishes. You climb steadier, calmer, smarter. Fear leads to foolish decisions. Acceptance leads to clarity. True story. A CEO who accepted bankruptcy and saved his company. During the 2008 economic collapse, several U.S. startups faced ruin. One young CEO, Mike, had a choice: panic, scramble for unrealistic investor pitches, beg for bailouts, or pause, face the truth, and ask, asterisk, if the company fails, what then? Worst case, I lose it all, but I still have experience. I can rebuild. Asterisk, Mike chose the Stoic path. He accepted the worst. No panic, no theatrics. And that calmness let him reorganize, make tough but necessary cuts, preserve core values, and pull the company back from the brink. Success isn't for those who always win. It's for those who don't fear losing. Are you ready to lose, to gain everything? You want a new career, but fear losing steady income. You want to confess your love, but fear rejection. You want to chase your passion, but fear that no one will support you. So you stay stuck, because you fear loss. Ironically, you've already lost yourself. A Stoic chooses, "I accept that I may lose everything, but I refuse to lose myself." That's why they're courageous. Not emotionless, but free from fear's control. Exercise. Write your worst-case scenario script. Choose something you're afraid to do, but really want to. Now write it down. 1. What's the absolute worst that could happen? 2. If it does, what will I do next? 3. Can I survive it? Most times you'll realize, I'll be okay. I may even grow stronger. Those with nothing to lose are the most powerful. In battle, the strongest fighters are those with no fallback plan. They don't fear death, so they fight with full heart and mind. Life is no different. The one who's not afraid of criticism speaks truth. The one unconcerned with failure dares to begin. The one unafraid of abandonment, living by true values. That person always goes further. Summary. Do you want comfort or freedom? Those who seek comfort avoid risk, fear, and change. But the price is a life bound, limited, and ruled by emotions. Stoic thinkers, even amid hardship, remain free because they don't demand ease from the world. They don't run from adversity. They prepare for it and stand firm within it. We cannot choose our circumstances, but we can always choose our attitude. Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and psychologist. Part 8. High performance, calm mind. When Stoicism meets the modern mindset. Stoicism was born in ancient Rome. But the real question is, does it still work in today's fast world of social media, AI, and global business? The answer is, not only is it relevant, it's more necessary than ever. Because the modern world doesn't lack opportunity. It's overloaded with distraction. It doesn't lack tools, but it lacks self-control. It doesn't lack outwardly successful people, but it severely lacks those with inner peace. And that's where Stoicism enters. as a foundation to help you think strategically without losing your humanity. Chase performance without sacrificing peace. Climb higher without stepping on others. What are modern people really searching for? Not money, not fame. What modern people truly crave is stability in an unstable world. They want a mind that doesn't spiral every time something goes wrong. A life not dependent on likes, views, or drama. A core set of values untouched by the latest societal trends. Stoicism offers that. It's not just a philosophy. It's a manual for living in chaotic times. When Stoicism meets modern thinking, you become an inner productivity engine. Whether you're an entrepreneur, content creator, organizational leader, or even a student, if you combine Stoic principles with modern skills, you'll be able to 1. Set goals like a strategist. 2. Maintain composure like a philosopher. 3. Practice deep work without distraction. 4. Stay ethical in a competitive world. 5. Stay grounded through failure. 6. Stay humble in success. This is the kind of person who doesn't just do more, but does what matters, not just accelerating, but knowing when to pause and reflect deeply. Who is a modern-day Stoic? Someone who uses social media daily, but doesn't let it program their emotions. Someone who meets deadlines and handles KPIs, but keeps their clarity intact. Someone who steps into brutal environments, but holds on to their kindness. Someone who says no to meaningless things, to pursue what truly matters. They act with decisiveness and live with depth. They analyze like an entrepreneur, but remain calm like a monk. There's nothing cooler than someone calm in every situation. We often associate success with stress, pressure, and even anger. But the higher you climb, the clearer it becomes. The real winners are those who keep a cool head. It's no coincidence that Steve Jobs wore the same outfit daily to conserve mental energy for what really mattered. Naval Ravikant, tech investor, meditates every morning and says, "The greatest freedom is freedom from your own mind." Ryan Holiday, a leading modern Stoic writer, lives simply and avoids pointless debates, despite being globally influential. Greatness isn't just about getting to the top. It's about standing at the top and still feeling at peace. How to apply Stoic thinking in modern life. Here's a simple 5-step routine you can start today. 1. Each morning, write down 3 things you can control today. Example: I can control how I respond. I can control where I focus. I can control my words. 2. Before every action, ask yourself, is this emotional or strategic? Just 5 seconds of reflection can save you from 80% of impulsive mistakes. 3. Before bed, write 1 reaction you handle well and 1 you could improve. This builds your daily Stoic reflex. 4. Limit social media to 30 minutes/day. You don't have to delete it. Just set a boundary to protect your mental clarity. 5. Spend 1 hour per week doing absolutely nothing. No phone, no work, just deep thinking about your life. It sounds simple, but it puts you ahead of 95% of people living on autopilot. Summary: master the inner world, and you master everything. When others are rushing, you choose to go deep. When others chase emotion, you choose strategy. When others seek validation, you seek inner clarity. Success isn't controlling everything. It's controlling yourself in every situation. A modern Stoic. And with that, this 8-part journey comes to an end. But your journey is just beginning. You don't have to become a philosopher. Just live each day with a bit more reason, calm, and strategy, and you'll already be different from the crowd. Less emotion, more strategy. It's not just a mindset. It's how you take control of your life. If you found this video valuable, why have you check mark like to let me know you're following? Push pin subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Rock it and share with someone who needs stronger emotional immunity in today's chaotic world. We'll meet again soon on the path to mastering your mind and upgrading your life. Stay calm, stay smart, and live like a modern Stoic. Part 9. Master emotions in relationships. Don't let anyone control you through emotional triggers. Have you ever found yourself in one of these situations? A careless comment from someone kept you up all night. A piece of criticism made you question your self-worth. A disrespectful act left you so angry you couldn't focus on your work. Just one word, one glance, one message was enough to hijack your mind for hours, maybe even days. What does that mean? It means you've handed the emotional remote over to someone else. Stoics don't let their emotions be controlled by others. Stoic philosophy teaches, no one can hurt you unless you allow them to. That means they can insult you, they can abandon you, they can betray you, but pain only truly exists if you choose to bring that emotion inside. This doesn't mean being emotionless. It means you don't react out of instinct. You respond with reason and strategy. A simple illustration, the spilled cup. When someone insults you, it's like they're throwing a cup of water on you. You can, 1. Stand there drenched and stay angry all day. 2. React aggressively, escalate the situation, make it worse. 3. Look down, dry yourself off, and walk away with your head held high. Most people choose option 1 or 2. Stoics choose option 3. They don't let others' actions dictate their mood or self-worth. You can't change others, but you can change how you respond. You'll never be able to control how your partner behaves, how your coworker reacts, how your boss judges, how society sees you, but you always have the power to choose whether or not to react, how to respond, how much energy you give it. The weak let emotions guide their actions. The strong let reason guide their actions. The wise let their values guide their actions. Stoic exercise. The response gap. Next time someone upsets you, pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself, does this reflect my true values? Will my reaction improve anything? If I do nothing, will the problem fade on its own? Most emotional stressors aren't worth your energy. And when you learn to step back, you regain full control of the situation. Real life example, a leader who redirects instead of reacting. Jack, a young executive, often faced gossip from employees, jealousy from colleagues, and aggression from clients. Instead of reacting emotionally, getting angry, arguing, blaming, Jack practiced stoic thinking. When receiving feedback, pause for 30 seconds, redirected the conversation to the common goal. When attacked, didn't retaliate, noted it calmly, responded with deliberate action at the right time. The result? He became a trusted leader, unshakable, composed, and always in control of the narrative. Stoic thinking helps you avoid toxic emotional traps. Know when to speak and when to stay silent. Avoid being manipulated by praise or criticism. Reserve your energy for what truly matters. Conclusion: the wise person doesn't enter every emotional battle. Some battles are not worth fighting. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Some insults don't deserve a reaction. Not because you're afraid, but because you know who you are. The one who controls their emotions and interactions controls their position in the game. Modern Stoic Philosophy. Part 10. Turn Stoicism into a lifestyle. Don't just know it, live it. You've made it through 9 parts. From mastering your emotions, building long-term thinking, cultivating inner strength, staying calm in a chaotic world, to owning your behavior in relationships. But if you only understand Stoicism without living it, then it's all still just theory on paper. Philosophy doesn't create change. Consistent action does. That's what transforms you into a new person. What is Stoic thinking? Not suppression, but transformation. A common misunderstanding about Stoicism is it makes people cold, emotionless, detached from joy or sorrow. But the truth is the exact opposite. Stoicism doesn't teach you to eliminate emotions. It teaches you to put emotions in their proper place. Don't let emotions drive your life. Don't let fear extinguish your dreams. Don't let anger destroy your relationships. You still feel deeply, but with direction, focus, and depth. What does it mean to live Stoicism? You don't need to live on a mountain, wear a toga, or quit social media. Living Stoicism in the modern world means staying calm when others lose control, choosing silence over winning a meaningless argument, accepting what you can't change, and channeling energy into what you can influence, working hard every day without relying on praise, being grateful for what you have and not envious of others' journeys. It's not austere living. It's intentional living. How to practice Stoic thinking every day. You don't need to study Stoicism your whole life. You just need to live 5 core principles each day. 1. Morning. Set your Stoic mindset. Before your day begins, remind yourself, today, I might encounter people who don't behave as I wish. Today, things may not go according to plan, but I still control myself. This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. 2. Midday, check your actions. Am I living by values or emotion? Ask yourself, is this action guided by my values or by anger and fear? Am I reacting automatically? If I were a great leader, how would I respond? Just 2 minutes of reflection can turn a chaotic day into one you're proud of. 3. Evening, the Stoic journal. Each night, write 3 simple reflections. Today I stayed calm when. Today I was driven by emotion when. Tomorrow I will. Write 1 page a day, and you'll start seeing the evolution of your inner self. Turning philosophy into lifestyle. 3 levels of application. 1. Level 1 reflex. You pause before reacting, instead of acting impulsively. 2. Level 2 awareness. You recognize what's within your control and what needs to be let go. 3. Level 3 integration. You no longer need to remember Stoicism because it's how you breathe each day. You don't have to force yourself to act Stoic because you become that person. Stoicism doesn't make you weak. It makes you unshakable. Others get angry. You remain calm. Others walk away. You don't cling. Life turns upside down. You don't panic. This isn't because you're emotionless. It's because you've trained an inner strength as solid as a mountain. Success, wealth, relationships, they may come and go, but your Stoic inner power will stay with you for life. Final summary. From instinctive emotion to strategic thinking to a Stoic lifestyle, we've walked through 10 parts together. And if there's one thing you should remember from this journey, it's this. You can't control the world, but you can control yourself. And once you control yourself, you can change the world around you. Loudspeaker one final and heartfelt invitation. If this journey has helped you become calmer, deeper, stronger, leave a like so I know you're still here. Subscribe to never miss a video that helps you upgrade your thinking every day. And share this with someone who needs to find stability in today's chaos. The journey of a Stoic doesn't end with this video. It begins today with every choice you make, every emotion you manage, every decision you stand by in calmness. Stay grounded, stay resilient, and walk like a modern Stoic. Conclusion: master yourself so nothing can shake you. We've completed a 10-part journey from the foundations of Stoic thinking to applying it in personal emotions, strategic thinking, daily actions, and the complexities of modern relationships. You've learned that it's not what happens that hurts you, it's how you think about it. Emotions aren't the enemy, but letting them control you is. You don't have to quit social media, your job, or the modern world. You just have to keep your center within it. You now understand that true freedom isn't out there. It's when nothing outside can control what's inside you. Lasting success doesn't come from always being right or perfect, but from staying rational, resilient, and rooted in your values. Happiness isn't the absence of hardship. It's the presence of inner strength that lets you move through hardship without losing yourself. Stoicism isn't a philosophy of coldness. It's a foundation for calm, strength, and resilience. In a world that changes by the minute, where comparison is endless and emotions are constantly manipulated, Stoicism helps you build a solid emotional immune system, a mind that's not driven by panic, a spirit that's self-governed, clear-headed, and brave enough to live by its values. When others react, you observe. When others argue, you stay silent. When others tremble in chaos, you stand still and calm, not because you're weak, but because you've realized life doesn't need you to control everything. Life needs you to control yourself.